The first thing I noticed when I woke up was, everything had changed. My body felt strange, unfamiliar, and at the same time, mesmerizing. I blinked, trying to process the reflection staring back at me. The face, my face, was different, softer, delicate, and undeniably feminine. I pressed my fingers against my cheeks, tracing the contours I didn't recognize, the smoothness of skin I hadn't had before. My chest rose with each breath, my lips fuller, my hair longer, cascading down my shoulders like silk. Panic hit like a tidal wave. I scrambled for my phone, praying for an explanation, a message, a note, anything, but nothing. Only the reflection of someone I barely recognized. My heartbeat thundered in my ears as I whispered, This isn't real. I remembered the experiment. The harmless science project I had agreed to assist with, a way to test some new gene therapy, a body enhancement formula, or so I thought. But this was no harmless experiment. This was a hidden manipulation, something far more invasive and personal than I had ever imagined. And now, the consequences were staring back at me in the mirror. Fear mixed with an inexplicable curiosity. I touched my lips, my fingers trembling, tracing the new softness, the unfamiliar shape. My eyes flickered to my hair, long and flowing, brushing against my shoulders. I turned side to side, watching the reflection move with me, every gesture emphasizing curves and angles I had never had. Then came the voice, the one I heard when I spoke. High, melodic, undeniably feminine. I coughed, trying to clear my throat, but the sound only confirmed it. I was someone else. Or rather, someone entirely new. I tried to remember the experiment's details, replaying conversations and instructions, but everything seemed irrelevant now. No one had warned me it could do this. No one had explained how deeply personal the changes would be. I felt trapped, violated, and yet, part of me couldn't look away. There was something intoxicating about this new body, this new identity. The day passed in a blur of panic and fascination. I moved carefully, testing my range of motion, my new posture, my every movement. Each gesture was a reminder of how dramatically my life had shifted in a single night. I tried to hide it from family, pretending everything was normal during breakfast, but even my mother's curious glance made my chest tighten. By evening, I was alone, finally free to explore. I examined every detail, my nails perfectly manicured, my skin smooth and supple, the delicate curve of my wrists, the subtle sway of my hips when I moved. I experimented with expressions, smiling, frowning, tilting my head. Every reflection felt alive, teasing, and almost playful. Then came the whispers of possibility. Could I enjoy this? Could I explore who I had become? The thought sent a shiver down my spine. Fear, curiosity, fascination, they swirled together in an intoxicating mix. For the first time, I felt that maybe this hidden experiment, this transformation, wasn't just a mistake, maybe it was the start of something entirely new. The morning after the first shock, the world outside my room felt sharper, louder, and somehow more intimidating. Every reflection, every window, every mirror I passed reminded me that the body I had woken up in was not my own, or rather, it was mine, but rewritten, reshaped, and undeniably feminine. My chest tightened, not just from the physical change, but from the anticipation of facing people who had no idea what had happened. I dressed carefully, selecting clothes that were soft, flowing, yet conservative enough to not draw unnecessary attention. Even the simplest decisions, like which skirt to wear or whether to tie my hair back, felt monumental. I caught myself pausing at the mirror repeatedly, checking posture, testing expressions, practicing a walk I had never needed to before. The elevator ride downstairs was worse than I imagined. Every reflective surface, metal panels, windows, polished floors, showed a stranger in motion, each step deliberate, every sway accentuated. My hands shook slightly as I gripped the railing, heart thundering, praying that no one noticed the difference. At work, it was a minefield. Colleagues greeted me with curious smiles, hesitant glances, and subtle questions that I deflected with nervous laughter. "You look different," someone finally said, eyes wide with uncertainty. I muttered, "Just tired, I guess," and forced a smile, my voice soft and melodic, betraying the subtle shift in tone. Each conversation became an exercise in restraint and observation. I had to anticipate reactions, test responses, and carefully controlled gestures that now carried a different energy. During lunch, I tried to blend into a quiet corner, but whispers found me anyway. Friends leaned close, eyes darting between curiosity and concern. You look amazing, but are you okay? Julia asked, her voice laced with a mix of skepticism and worry. I laughed nervously, brushing hair behind my ears, and said something vague. Her frown didn't fade. The office gossip didn't help. Soft snickers and murmurs floated past my desk, every word a reminder of how different I now seemed. Even simple tasks became exercises in hyper-awareness. Typing emails, answering phone calls, attending meetings, all felt like navigating a tightrope. Every movement, every gesture, every word was amplified. I found myself adjusting posture repeatedly, testing the sway of my hips, the curve of my back, ensuring nothing betrayed my new form. Returning home offered little relief. Dinner with family was awkward, eyes lingering longer than usual. You look nice, my mom said cautiously, as if testing her words before sending them into the world. My dad, ever practical, merely nodded, avoiding direct eye contact. I laughed lightly, sipping water, my mind racing with tension. The secret hung heavily in the room, a silent reminder that my life had irrevocably shifted. Even outside, in mundane settings, the world felt different. Strangers' glances, fleeting yet intense, made me hyper-aware of every detail, movement, posture, clothing, and voice. Some eyes lingered longer than they should, and a few smiles hinted at admiration, while others seemed cold, judgmental. Every encounter sharpened my consciousness, forcing me to navigate each moment with caution. By nightfall, exhaustion weighed on me, but so did fascination. Sitting alone, tracing the contours of my hands, arms, and face, I realized the full scope of disruption. Daily life was no longer a predictable routine. It was a labyrinth of social navigation, self-awareness, and internal tension. Yet, amidst the fear, a flicker of something else emerged: curiosity, excitement, and the faint thrill of discovering what it truly meant to inhabit this new body. The world of secrets I had entered wasn't just external, it was internal. Each glance in a reflective surface, every gesture in public, and every whispered conversation carried consequences. And in facing them, I realized that my life had changed permanently. I could no longer move through the world as I once did. I had to adapt, explore, and embrace the challenges of this new identity. By the time I finally lay in bed, the tension had not left, but it had transformed. Fear was still present, yes, but alongside it was curiosity, a subtle excitement, and a growing awareness that the journey I had begun was mine to navigate, discover, and ultimately own. The apartment felt different now, quieter, almost like it was waiting for me to explore the person I had become. The door clicked shut behind me, sealing out the world, and I exhaled a breath I didn't even realize I had been holding. Alone, I could finally experiment, discover, and play with this new identity without fear. I began with clothes. My closet had always been ordinary, filled with casual, neutral pieces. But now, it seemed like a treasure trove of possibilities. I ran my fingers over silky blouses, flowing skirts, and delicate dresses, feeling textures I had never appreciated before. My heart raced as I selected a pale pink blouse, the fabric light and soft. Slipping it on, I froze, staring into the mirror. The reflection wasn't just a body, it was a presence, a persona coming alive in ways I hadn't imagined. Next came makeup. My hands shook as I picked up a lipstick, swiping it across my lips. The color was bold, vivid, almost daring. I fumbled with eyeliner and blush, making uneven strokes that made me giggle nervously. Each attempt was a small adventure, each improvement a tiny victory. By the time I was done, I barely recognized the person in the mirror. Confident, radiant, undeniably feminine, and yet undeniably me. Hair became another playground. My long locks flowed over my shoulders, and I experimented with styles: loose waves, braids, sleek ponytails. Each style revealed a different facet of myself. I laughed at my reflection, twirling, enjoying the sound of my higher, melodic voice as I spoke. Each giggle, each whisper, each movement felt electric, intoxicating, and oddly liberating. Movement and posture were next. I practiced walking with deliberate grace, testing the sway of my hips, the tilt of my shoulders, and the cadence of my steps. High heels clicked against the floor, a sound that felt both powerful and feminine. Each motion was a discovery, a way to inhabit this new body fully. I experimented with gestures, hand movements, and subtle glances, learning the silent language of presence and allure. I began keeping a journal, noting every detail, how fabrics felt against my skin, how my voice sounded when softened or elongated, how my reflection shifted with light and mood. Every entry was intimate, a conversation with myself that mapped my evolving identity. Private fashion shows became a nightly ritual. Mixing skirts with boots, pairing blouses with jewelry, twirling, dancing, and observing every expression in the mirror. Each session brought joy, exhilaration, and a growing sense of self-appreciation. The reflection was no longer a stranger. It was a friend, a companion, a version of me that had waited to be discovered. Sensory exploration deepened the experience. The brush of fabric, the subtle scent of perfume, the weight of accessories, and even the tension of stockings against my legs, all became tools to understand and enjoy this transformation. Each sensation grounded me in reality, making the experience tangible and vivid. Voice work became a secret passion. I practiced speaking in different tones, soft and inviting, playful, confident. Each modulation unlocked new possibilities, and each whisper or laugh reinforced my comfort and enjoyment in this identity. Recording videos of myself allowed me to observe, critique, and celebrate small victories in my expression, posture, and persona. Emotional growth paralleled physical experimentation. I allowed myself to feel curiosity, embarrassment, excitement, and joy without judgment. I whispered secrets to my reflection, laughed at my own awkwardness, and marveled at the freedom of private exploration. Each night, I became more comfortable, more confident, more in tune with the person I was discovering. Late-night experiments revealed the most profound truths. Makeup, fashion, posture, and voice became exercises not just in transformation, but in self-acceptance. Each victory, no matter how small, fostered empowerment, reshaping fear into exhilaration and hesitation into curiosity. By the end of the week, I noticed subtle shifts even outside my apartment. I carried myself differently, moved with more awareness, and spoke with a quiet confidence that hadn't existed before. The private world of secrets I had cultivated became a foundation for courage, exploration, and self-expression in the public world. I whispered to my reflection one quiet night, softly, reverently, "I am more than I knew I could be." And for the first time, I truly believed it. The weekend finally arrived, the day I had been both dreading and anticipating. My reflection stared back at me in the mirror, poised, confident, undeniably feminine. I had rehearsed this moment countless times in private, but nothing could fully prepare me for the intensity of reality. Every step outside my apartment felt heavier, charged with anticipation, every breath measured, every movement deliberate. The gathering was casual, a small party with friends and colleagues, but to me, it was a stage. My heart raced with anxiety and thrill as I stepped through the door. Whispers rippled through the room as familiar faces turned to look at me. Some smiled with curiosity, some stared, mouths slightly agape. Every glance felt magnified, every interaction a test of my new identity. Then came the moment of confrontation. Julia, one of my closest friends, stepped forward, eyes wide. Is that really you?" she asked, voice trembling with shock and disbelief. Time seemed to freeze. Every heartbeat thundered in my ears as I searched her eyes for judgment or ridicule. Panic surged, but beneath it, a deeper current began to rise, confidence. I had prepared, I had explored, I had discovered myself in ways no one else knew. "Yes," I said, voice steady and melodic, "it's me. I'm different. And I like it." The words left my lips with a power I hadn't known I possessed. Silence hung for a moment, then shifted. Julia's expression softened, or replacing shock. You look incredible," she said, voice filled with admiration. The tension in the room dissolved gradually. Conversations restarted, laughter returned, and the initial fear of exposure transformed into a subtle, exhilarating thrill. Every smile, every glance, every interaction reinforced a truth I had only discovered in solitude. I was ready to face the world fully as myself. Throughout the evening, I mingled, moved, and spoke with deliberate confidence. Each gesture, each tilt of the head, each sway of the hips was an assertion of my presence. The world responded with curiosity, respect, and warmth. Fear gave way to exhilaration. The hidden experiment that had once terrified me now became the foundation of empowerment. At one point, a colleague whispered, "How do you carry yourself like that?" I smiled, realizing the answer was simple. I had discovered authenticity, and it radiated naturally. I was no longer hiding. I was fully present, fully alive, and fully me. Later, stepping out onto the balcony, the city lights flickering beneath me, I allowed myself to reflect. The journey had been tumultuous: fear, embarrassment, curiosity, exhilaration, but every step had led to this moment of clarity and empowerment. I touched my face, traced the contours I had grown to love, and whispered to myself, "I am me. Fully, unapologetically, beautifully me." The experiment that had hidden in shadows, threatening to undo my sense of self, had inadvertently unlocked a world of courage, confidence, and authenticity. I had walked into a world of secrets and emerged transformed, not just in body, but in spirit. By the end of the night, I realized the most profound truth. Empowerment is not the absence of fear, it is embracing it, stepping through it, and claiming your identity fully. The hidden experiment had changed my life, but it had also shown me a reality far richer than I had imagined: the freedom to be truly, unashamedly myself.